Hey everyone, so today we are going to see that why do we need inner product and hence inner product spaces. And after that we will arrive at the definition. So that's what the agenda is. So this is kind of the motivational lecture on why to study this topic. Okay, so now suppose if I give you a matrix, say 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my matrix A, and if I give you another matrix, say 7, 6, 1, 0. And if I ask you what is the angle between these two matrices, then what will be your answer? So if you don't know this fact, then you will say that whether such a question makes sense or what, right? Because you have studied about angle between the vectors. If this is your vector A, this is the vector B, then you have studied the angle between the vectors. But if I ask you what about the angle between the matrices, that's the first thing. Or suppose if I give you a polynomial, say p of x equal to x square plus 1 and q of x equal to 3x square plus 2x plus 7. And now if I ask you what is the angle between p of x and q of x, these two polynomial, or what is the angle between say sin x and cos x. So I mean, does this question even make sense? That's the first thing you should ask me. What is the answer? That's the different story. But the questions which I'm asking you, does that even make sense? Answer is yes, because you have studied vector spaces. Okay, so before coming to this, let me tell you that the questions that I'm asking you, whether that makes sense or not. Answer is yes, because of the vector spaces. Now what is a vector space? How this vector space came into picture? Now see how it came in, because suppose if you have say two vectors, vector A and vector B, then you know how to do. So I am in R2, I am in two-dimensional space, I am in R2. Then I know how to add two vectors A bar plus B bar. Okay, so this is what I do. I do A bar plus B bar. So this is my addition of the vector. So once you have two vector, the basic thing is you add the vectors. And what is another thing you do? If you have a vector A, you multiply, you scale that vector, right? If I multiply this by 2, I will get 2 times A bar. If I multiply A by minus 1, I get minus of A bar. So whenever you have vectors, you either add the vectors, or if you have a vector, you scale that vector. That means what? On R2, you are having an addition operator and you are having a scalar multiplication operator. Okay, so this is one triplet. So what people did, instead of R2, you can also talk about Rn. Whatever I did for R2, you can do for R3, R4 and so on. So in general, if I have a set say Rn, on this set I can do these two operations definitely. So what people do, they wrote down some good properties that vectors will satisfy with respect to addition and the scalar multiplication operation. They wrote down those 8-10 properties, the standard properties that a vector should satisfy. And then they generalized this concept. They generalized it. So what they said is, instead of Rn, you take any set V, and on that set you try to define addition and the multiplication operation. And if this set satisfies those 8 to 10 properties, then we will call this set to be a vector space. So that's how the vector space comes into picture. It is the generalization of Rn's. It's a Euclidean space. What is Euclidean space? The space that satisfies those 5 Euclid's postulates. So vector space is nothing but, one way to look at it is the generalization of the Euclidean space. Okay, and here since this A bar and V bar are called as vectors over here, if I take any V bar belongs to V, then I call that this is a vector. So elements of vector space are called as vectors. Okay, so that's one thing we do. Now let's go to the angles. Now whenever you have two vectors in R2, say A bar and B bar, definitely the basic thing after addition and scalar multiplication. Okay, scalar means what? Here you multiply by a real number only. Now here this is any set, okay, and this is a scalar multiplication. So now this scalar can be, if you take this scalar to be a real number, then we call this vector space to be a real vector space. If you multiply that, if you take that scalar as a complex number, then this is called as a complex vector space. But in this lecture I will stick to real vector space for simplicity. Okay, now once you have two vectors, after addition and scalar multiplication, the obvious thing is you talk about the angle. What is the angle between two vectors? So in Rn you can talk about the angle between the two vectors. So obviously the question arises, if I take two vectors, say v1 and v2 from a vector space V, what is the angle between v1 and v2? So now we can see this is a legitimate question, okay, because in vector space also I should ask this question, because since it's a generalization, if some things I can do over here, question is can I do the same thing over here? And that's why the first three questions which I ask you. Now we know that if I take all n cross n matrices, I know I can do addition of matrices and I can do scalar multiplication. We already know that this forms a vector space. So if I take any two vectors from this space, what are the vectors over here? They are nothing but the n cross n matrices. So if I take A and B from this space, okay, let me take, for simplicity, let's take 2. So initially I wrote 2 cross 2 matrices, right? So now the question is legitimate. If I take two vectors from this set, what is the angle between two matrices? Or you also know the polynomial space. Initially I think I took polynomial of degree 2. So if I take P2 plus dot all polynomials of degree less equal to, okay, so this we know that this also forms a vector space. So if I take two polynomials, say P of x and Q of x, these are the two vectors in this space. So obviously the question makes sense that what is the angle between Q of x and P of x. And that's where your inner product comes into picture. Inner product came into picture to answer this kind of questions. Okay, so because here you have dot product, because if I want to find angle, what is cosine of theta? It is the dot product of the vector upon mod A into mod B. So here we have dot product in Rn, Euclidean space. Question is, what do we have over here? What is the generalization? Answer is inner product. Your inner product is a function. It is nothing but the generalization of the dot product. Okay, so let's try to arrive at the definition first. Let's see how that definition came into picture. Now what is dot product? So it takes two vectors, say A bar and B bar. It will take two vectors and output is what? You do the dot product. So this is a real number. So dot product, if I denote by this, it's a function which take two vectors, say Rn cross Rn, A bar comma B bar, and what is the output? It's a real number. So that's what your dot product is. So therefore we define inner product, it will take something comma something. That's why we use this notation. So it takes two vectors from a vector space. So let me write V cross V, and since I am playing with real vector space, so let me write output as a real number. Okay, so here what you do A comma B, output is A dot B. Here you take two vectors, say V1 and V2. What is the output? Your output is inner product of V1 comma V2. So V1 comma V2 is nothing but a real number. I mean inner product of V1 comma V2 is nothing but a real number. Okay, so that's what this is what the thing is. If you don't like this, you can also write F over here, but we usually write square bracket, angular bracket for the inner product. Okay, so that's one thing. Okay, now what are the obvious properties your inner product dot product satisfies? So dot product of two vectors is a number, so that's what the function is. So the first thing you realize about dot product is, if I take A dot A, it is always greater or equal 0, right? Because A dot A is nothing but mod of A square. So therefore the first property you usually see is inner product of V bar comma V bar should be greater or equal 0 for all vectors. Okay, for all V bar belongs to V. What is the second thing you observe? If suppose your A dot A is 0, this means what? Mod of A square is 0. Means what? What you can say, that vector has to be the 0 vector. Okay, because A dot A is 0 means what? Mod A square is 0. Means what? Mod A is 0. That means your A is 0. So therefore here the second property you will see is, if the inner product is 0, that means what? If and only if that vector has to be 0. 0 bar. Good? Okay. That's the third property. Next comes the linearity. What is A bar plus B bar dot product with C bar? It is nothing but A bar dot C bar plus B bar dot C bar. This dot product gets distributed. So that's what the third property, which is called as the linearity. If you take V bar plus W bar comma U bar, then this is nothing but V bar comma U bar plus W bar comma U bar. So this is called as a linear in first component. Okay, only in first component. I am not talking about the second component. So that's the one thing. The fourth property. What is the fourth property over here? If you take lambda times A bar and dot product with B bar, actually that is same as lambda into A bar dot B bar. So this lambda it's a number, it's a real number. So it can go anywhere. It can be with B, it can come out here. Okay, since it's a real number. So if you observe in the first component, if you have lambda times A bar comma B bar, this is lambda times A bar comma B bar. Lambda comes outside. Okay, so see, it's a real number. So even though lambda is here, lambda comes out here as well. Okay, so from both the components you can take out lambda one by one. But when I play with complex, then there is something called as complex conjugate. Then in first component lambda comes out. If you are taking out lambda from the second component, then it will be lambda bar. Okay, but in real number, okay, need not to worry about the conjugates. So you have nice things. In complex, you have to little bit cautious. Okay, fine. And the last one, if you recall, if you do A dot B or you do B dot A, you always get the same answer. Okay, so therefore the fifth is inner product of V bar comma W bar is equal to inner product of W bar comma V bar. So if you have a function from V cross V to R, a function, any function that satisfies these 5 properties, then we call such a function to be an inner product function or simply inner product. So what is inner product? It's a function from V cross V to R satisfying these properties, 5 properties. Okay, so first is fine. In the third one, since it's a real number, it's linear in both the components. Here also lambda can be here or here, lambda comes out, and inner product of VW is same as WV. Once again I am iterating that if it's a complex number, then there is a change in the fourth and the fifth property. Okay, so yeah, that's how the definition of inner product came into the world, because the question was asked about the angle between the vectors. Then here we have the dot product. Then can we have something over here? So dot product is a function. So we defined inner product as a function, and then we collected some good properties of inner product, and we said that if you have a function from V cross V to R satisfying these properties, then we say that it's an inner product. Okay, and after angle, what is the next obvious thing you can ask? So obvious thing is one can ask about the length of the vector. So if this is my A bar, question is what is my length of A? And here actually we know that there are plenty of distance formulas. The standard is the Euclidean distance formula. If your A bar is x comma y, this is x square plus y square. So, or in short, we know that what is in terms of dot product, your mod A square is nothing but A bar dot A bar. So what is length of a vector? It is nothing but square root of the dot product. So that's what we have in the Euclidean world. So therefore here the generalization of a length is nothing but a norm of a vector. So when you are in Rn, you have a vector, length of a vector makes sense. Now when you are in arbitrary vector space, there is nothing length, because you cannot visualize where is that point. Here you can see, okay, this is the length. So when you are in the arbitrary world, the notion of length gets replaced by the notion of norm. So norm is nothing but the generalization. So in arbitrary world, we say norm. In our world, real world, R3, we say the length. Okay. So what is the norm? So norm of a vector V is nothing but square root of inner product of V comma V. Now does this make sense? Yes, because if you observe, inner product of V comma V is always greater equal 0. So this is always greater equal 0. So therefore this square root is a real number. Okay, so therefore this is a real number. To be precise, this is a positive real number, because norm is a function. So you always take square root to be positive. So what is a norm? It's a function. It takes a vector and it gives you a non-negative real number. So it takes a vector V bar and output is norm of V bar. Okay, so that's how inner product space and the norm of a vector came into the world. Because your vector space for the generalization of the Euclidean space, and in Euclidean space you can talk about the dot product and the length of a vector. So what about in vector space? And the answer was inner product and the norm. In next lecture we will see some examples of inner product as well as non-inner product space. And obviously in the coming lectures I will also answer the question how to find angle between the matrices, angle between the polynomials, and so on. So I hope you understood this lecture. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section.